Monarch Bank has experienced record-setting growth throughout 4 years of a global financial crisis that's shaken our confidence in our economic system. And now the reactive imposition of new regulations is heralding a more cautious investment environment. When John Varley, the retired CEO of Barclays Bank, was asked about the greatest challenge he faced in restoring the bank's reputation, he said, "Few doubted the quality of our brains. What they doubted was the quality of our souls." Well, Monarch's last 4 years of growth and prosperity have inspired the highest qualities of both. Join me, Kathy Lewis, in dialogue with members of your Monarch family as we discuss two essential assets sustaining Monarch's and your shared success: Monarch's brains and soul, human and reputation capital. There are a lot of moving parts among all of the divisions that you're talking about, among all of the expansion that you're talking about. How do you go about integrating all of that and pulling that all together?
That's what makes my job so much fun. There are a lot of moving parts, and I think the key is to make sure they all move together, they all move the right direction together, and that everybody's communicating together.
What of 4 years we have seen in the global financial markets and here in the United States as well. You know, it's interesting when you think about what those 4 years have been, because if you did nothing but look at what Monarch's performance has been like, you would be forgiven for thinking that nothing bad had happened in the last 4 years.
I think we have the best clients in Hampton Roads. I think the employees, my co-workers at Monarch, they've all worked incredibly hard, and nobody predicted that this recession was going to be as bad as it was. It's nobody's fault that real estate values fell 30–40%. And one of the things I'm most proud of with Monarch is how we have been able to work with our clients when they've experienced difficulties. Because if our clients are experiencing difficulties, we're experiencing difficulties. You know, a community bank, we deal with our neighbors. They have to be able to trust us, and we have to do the right thing for them every day. You know, we're going to see them the next day. If we make a decision that isn't ethically correct or isn't right, we're going to hear about it from them as a neighbor. So I think it's just a higher standard.
These last 4 years have certainly been, without a doubt, a challenge. That would probably be the most charitable thing that could be said about the last 4 years. And within the context of Monarch, you all kept lending during those 4 years.
We're not a Wall Street bank, we're a Main Street bank. It's really all about the class of the person versus the class of the loan.
I look back over the last 4 years, and you look at other financial institutions, and you see that there was a significant lack of trust in the numbers that were being reported. Did you find yourself open to increased scrutiny about your own numbers?
They didn't believe that our numbers were real because they didn't trust any bank. That created for Monarch and for a lot of the community banks the same mistrust. Our stock value went down and stayed down for a longer and extended period of time because of that. And one of the things Monarch has done throughout the financial crisis is Monarch has continued to lend real estate loans. Most banks stopped lending. As a matter of fact, a lot of the regulators kind of pushed in that direction by some of the guidelines they were giving us that they didn't want us to lend, but they were very comfortable with Monarch lending because we knew what we were doing.
One of the things we've asked several of your top leaders is whether there were fundamental understandings or principles that you had about the business of banking that had guided the business up until the crisis, and whether any of those fundamental principles have changed since the crisis.
We were always conservative bankers. We always tried to do the right thing for our clients and by our employees. And during the crisis, the only thing that has gotten really tougher is the regulatory compliance burden.
When we think about this tension, and it does exist, between trying to grow the business and trying to manage the risk, trying to increase the customer base and protect shareholder value. It seems to me that that's a tension that you encounter probably almost daily.
It is. That's the nature of the business, and we have to balance those competing interests on a daily basis, and look for growth, look for shareholder value, manage risk, and especially make sure we do what's right for the client.
What's your sense of what banking regulations have done to risk management?
In one sense, they've made it easier. For example, in the mortgage industry, they've taken a lot of the products out that our competitors were offering that we wouldn't offer. And so now we don't have to deal with those. On the other hand, it's made it much more difficult having to comply with all these new regulations from the Dodd-Frank, the new CFPB, is just unbelievable. And the cost associated with that is very burdensome to the industry. Our folks get it. Our folks get the culture, they've bought into the culture, and they have that discipline to know that just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. So they're really self-governing, and from my perspective, it makes my job a whole lot easier.
So they will have things that they will not bring to you because they know in the beginning, in the early days, this is not going to fly.
They know what a Monarch client looks like.
Our mortgage operation is second to none, and I give a lot of credit to the entire team there. You know, Will and Jack are the top two leaders, but there's so many leaders in that company. And you know, without Monarch Mortgage and that component of our business, we wouldn't be who we are today.
It's really been an extraordinary 4 years for Monarch Mortgage. $7 billion in mortgage loans during a time when really the rest of the country was really struggling when it comes to the mortgage environment. You know, so I wonder, Will, what is it that you think has helped Monarch to be so successful when your competitors really have not been?
I think one of the biggest things for Monarch is that we've always put our customers' and clients' needs first. We wanted to make sure that we were doing what was best for the client, not necessarily best for Monarch. Matching that client to the right loan program that fits their need, not just trying to get a quick sale, move to another client.
Jack, I love what Will is talking about when he talks about this quick sale mentality, because that certainly was the way of the road, wasn't it?
Sure,
For
absolutely.
quite a long time. Now we have regulations that are creating an environment where more banks and more lenders are looking very similar because they can't make the loans they once did. So in that sort of a homogeneous environment, what do you think it is that Monarch does that can distinguish itself?
It's a great question. I think as the regulations have gotten tougher and the complexity of getting a loan through from point A to point Z, it really gives us a competitive advantage and allows us to kind of rise to the top. And the focus becomes more on service and being able to give concise answers of where you can go for a product, what kind of product you qualify for, and also the service to get it through in a timely manner and meet the closing dates, which are becoming quicker and quicker.
Where a lot of companies have either gone out of business completely or have been shrinking, we've been growing. We've added, you know, in terms of not just, you know, last year helping over 10,000 homeowners either through a purchase or a refinance, but also in our employment growth. I mean, we have, you know, been adding new employees and having new folks either want to become part of our team or us recruiting them to be part of that team. Sometimes the great ideas may not come from Jack or from me or from, you know, Brad Schwartz. It'll come from somebody else within our organization. We'll listen, we'll hear it, and we can adapt and change to that.
A lot of your competitors are cutting employees, they're cutting branches, they're cutting operations in order to continue to deliver to the bottom line. And over these 4 years, though, that has not. In fact, Monarch has done quite the opposite
Yes, we have.
of that.
We're quite the contrarians. I mean, we really are. And one good example is we wanted to beef up our technology delivery, not the risk management side, but also what do our clients see? Do they have an iPad app they can bank with? Can they work with us on their Android? Can they do all these great things with technology? And so we ended up hiring, you met him, Dennis Diaz, our new Chief Information Officer, and he's only been here a couple years. So right in the middle of the crisis, we hired a major new member of our management team.
You would think that if we're talking about a bank like Monarch Bank, it's in the financial services industry. But the more I read about the role of information technology, it makes me sort of wonder if, in some respects, it's not really a part of the IT industry.
I would be a disservice on my part to this bank if I do not pay very close attention to risk management as well as technology. You have to watch your back all the time with regards to risk, which includes regulatory, which includes disaster recovery, security, all those things that could negatively impact the bank. We could be making all kinds of advances in technology, and pay attention to those little details. It can come back and get you.
We really think the market needs a full-service financial firm that not only can do the investments, but can help out with the banking, take care of your mortgage, and really just take care of your total financial picture. Just last year, we started a significant investment management group called Monarch Bank Private Wealth.
Bernie and I have worked our lives in this, and we have cracked a code. We know how to melt the institutions together, a banking institution and an investment institution, and we're at a Monarch Bank. And to become a part of Monarch Bank has brought us back to a family.
So as you thought about making this move, were there assets that Monarch had that you felt that you could leverage on behalf of your client?
We had an opportunity to join Monarch, launch private wealth in Williamsburg and on the peninsula, and really grow Monarch Bank Private Wealth across the whole company. Our affiliation with Raymond James, as their access to research and product is far larger and more diverse than we ever had, coming from a larger bank where their product lineup is more proprietary. So the client benefits from a much broader array of services that Raymond James brings to Monarch. And that's really a great win for everybody.
So you have this great team of people.
Right.
We feel like we've come through the worst of this crisis. Pretty extraordinary growth, even through this terrible crisis. What's on the horizon for Monarch?
We continue to do well. You may know this, but we've had 4 record years of financial performance. We had our record first quarter for financial performance. And it's really nice to do well financially, but that's not really why we're here. The end result is the shareholder success. What we're really trying to do is build a great company, serve the community, and be a great place to work.
I suppose if you do all that, then the share price takes care of itself anyway.
That's our formula. You've probably heard it from all of our folks because everybody knows the formula. It's put your employees first, they'll take great care of your clients, and the shareholders will be rewarded.